football. It's personal between me and you, and I'm going to do you some serious harm, you big stiff idiot.
The untouchable True School Sports Empire proudly presents something the boxing game's been missing. Hey, what's going on? It's your boy BT, and I came here to talk some boxing with the thousands of True School Sports subscribers. Now, a lot of moving pieces going on in the middleweight division, a lot of minutia, and for lack of a better term, a lot of bullshit going on that really needs to be interpreted in a proper way so that you guys, the general public, the boxing fan, can understand what's really going on, be informed, and make sound decisions as to how you view these fights for yourself. Now, who better to do that than myself, your boy BT, Brendan Taylor, the untouchable True School Sports Empire. Make sure you smash that like button. Definitely subscribe if you're new to the channel. But for those that know, for those that don't know, Gennady Golovkin is now officially a former two-time middleweight champion because he has now vacated his WBA title, according to ESPN and a number of news outlets. But the one I have in front of me is actually Boxing Scene and ESPN. Mike Coppinger got the information as well. But crazy stuff is happening in this division. So we know that Golovkin was supposed to fight Erislandy Lara in a consolidation bout, meaning that Lara is the regular champion. So they're basically fighting. They're supposed to fight soon to determine who is going to be the real champion, the real WBA middleweight champion. There was a purse bid scheduled in a couple days. Golovkin pulled out of it pretty much and just vacated the belt. So that now means that by way of default, Erislandy Lara is now your WBA middleweight champion. Now, after this was announced, not too long after this was announced, Mike Coppinger said that it's very possible that Erislandy Lara can defend the title against none other than Gennady Garcia at a 155-pound catchweight. Ain't that some shit? Gennady Garcia just fought at 54. Now he's going to fight at Canelo weight, 155. Canelo weight is making a comeback in 2023, guys. Craziness. So let's take a look at the rankings, right? So right now, Gennady Garcia is the number 7 contender in the WBA middleweight, the middleweight, right? Ain't that crazy? Gennady Garcia has never fought a middleweight, but he's number 7 at middleweight. So, the manipulation of the boxing rankings, the dilution of what it means to be a true world champion in boxing continues. And Gennady Garcia, despite not being a middleweight at all, is number 7 in a ranking organization in the middleweight division. So that pretty much means that either he or Al Heyman or somebody from his team slipped Gilberto Mendoza a nice envelope, and they looked at the fact that in the past, I believe he's been champion with the WBA. So that's that. But it's the middleweight division. If Gennady Garcia gets a title shot in the middleweight division, this division is gonna take an even worse turn for the worse. Because this is disrespectful to all the guys that have been working their way up the rankings. Look at the guys like Shane Mosley Jr. and Felix Cash and Brian Mendoza. These guys have all done more in the middleweight division than Gennady Garcia, yet they're all ranked below him. Same thing for Fedor Chikashin, who just beat Nathaniel Gallimore, and has fought at middleweight as well. These guys have done more than Gennady Garcia at middleweight, but yet Gennady Garcia is ranked number 7, and he's getting consideration for a title shot. So it's very, very, very sad state of affairs. But Golovkin vacated the belt, I think, guys, because he really just doesn't want to see the process drag out any longer with Lara. And truthfully, I think at this stage of his career more than ever, he doesn't want to fight a guy with the style of Lara, especially because now, if you look at Lara's last couple of fights at middleweight, he's not really he's still a Cuban boxer as far as the movement and stuff like that, but he's actually been sitting down more on his punches and become a bit more of a knockout artist at 160. And I don't know if Golovkin wants that kind of smoke at this stage of his career, even though Lara is old himself. So he vacated the belt, and I think that Golovkin is probably gonna go pursue the fight with Jaime Munguia, because I know from past discussions I've had with people at Golden Boy, like matchmakers and the staff and things like that. I know that when I was campaigning for Demetrius Andrade to fight Munguia, they would always tell me, no, that's not something we really want. It's not high on our priority list. We want to fight Golovkin. So I think that if there's a big fight Golovkin's out there to pursue, it's probably the Munguia fight, because Munguia is trying to be built up as the next big Mexican star in boxing, and a fight against Golovkin and more importantly, a win against Golovkin would do that for him. So that's the route I think he's going to go. So we'll see what happens. I mean, I don't really care about Lara versus Danny Garcia, the fight in all reality means nothing because Danny Garcia winning a trinket at 155 when he just fought at 154 is bullshit. What's he gonna do? Hold the one? Is he gonna hold the middleweight title while being a 54-pounder? I mean, come on, it's not. I don't like it. You know, I like Danny Garcia. I think he's a good fighter, a really good fighter, but it's bullshit. And when you ask people why boxing has become a niche sport, it's because of ranking manipulation like this. So I'm not really like a fan of that potential fight. Truth be told, if I could just campaign real quick, if I could campaign for anybody to get a shot at Lara, it shouldn't be Danny Garcia, who's number 7 in the WBA rankings, and it shouldn't be Michael Zarafa. It shouldn't be no Sergio Martinez because he's old, who's number 2. It shouldn't be Emma Williams or Conor Coyle or Thomas Cornflake Lamana, who got knocked the hell out in 1 round by Lara. But the guy that should get the title shot against Lara is the number 6 contender. And that's none other than Paterson, New Jersey's very own Ian Green. Now, Ian Green may be very unknown to a lot of you guys. If you guys want to know who Ian Green is, I would highly advise you guys to go watch his fight against Alexander Castro that took place down here in South Florida earlier this year. It was one of the best middleweight fights in years. This guy, Ian Green, has been fighting maybe not the biggest names, but he's been fighting live bodies, guys coming to win, guys with good records, you know, guys who have actually been ranked in the division. Like he beat Tyler Howard, who was previously ranked in the rankings at one point. I believe in the WBO. He was 19-0 and he beat him. You know, he fought Alexander Castro, who was a high-risk, low-reward type of fighter, and put on one of the best fights we've seen in years. And if you don't believe me, feel free to go watch it. It's on the whole fight's on my channel. Ian Green versus Alexander Castro. So to me, this is the guy that deserves a shot. Not Danny Garcia, who's not a middleweight. Not Sergio Martinez, who's past his prime. None of these guys. Not Thomas Lamana, who got stretched on his back by Lara already. None of these guys. We don't need to see a Lara Cornflake Lamana rematch. We need to see guys that are actually putting in the work that deserve the shot. So for me, if I'm going to campaign for anybody to get a shot at the belt, it might not be a big name. You guys may be saying, well, why is BT... we never heard of Ian Green. He's got nobody, you know, casuals will say, this guy has nobody on his resume we know about. But trust me when I tell you, yes, he's 17-2. He's got a couple blemishes on his record, but he's fought live bodies and beating good people. And that's how you know fighters are real fighters, because any fighter can win a fight when they're brought in to win. But how many fighters can win a fight when they're brought in to lose, when they're on the B side? It's not a lot of guys, and he's one of those guys that's been doing it on a consistent basis. So for me, when I look at the rankings in that top 10 of the WBA, and I look at who deserves a shot at Lara for the belt now, it's got to be Ian Green. So that's the fight I want to see, and it'd be a good stylistic fight. You know, Lara has been fighting this style where he's been sitting in the pocket more. I want to see if he has the dog to sit in the pocket with Ian Green, because Ian Green showed his last fight against Alexander Castro. He can sit in the pocket and bang it out with you. He can box, he can bang, he can slug. He's the kind of guy that you'd want to be middleweight champion. So I'm campaigning for him to get the shot. So yeah, that's the news. Golovkin is vacating the belt in the WBA. He's vacated the WBA belt. I think he's gonna pursue a fight with Munguia, or maybe retire. Who knows? Lara is the new champion. He's been upgraded to champion. So Danny Garcia is number 7 in the rankings, and it's very possible with PBC affiliation that they wind up making that fight happen, which I think would be a disgrace to boxing. And I'm saying it now. If they make Danny Garcia versus Erislandy Lara, I am making a video saying it's a disgrace to boxing. So make no mistakes about it. But the guy that deserves a shot the most is Ian Green. And for documentational purposes, I wanted that to be known. So yeah. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below about this whole situation. Make sure you guys take the time to subscribe. And like I say in every single one of these videos, you can love me or you can hate me, but I'm just a kid from Dania. So until next time, take care, guys. Thank you for watching another video on the untouchable True School Sports Empire. For more great boxing content just like this video, click right here and make sure you subscribe. Much love from sunny South Florida.